Have you ever wondered how much of our suffering stems from ignorance? What if I told you that the key to a happier, more fulfilled life might lie in understanding and overcoming ignorance? Can ignorance really hold such power over us, shaping our thoughts, actions, and even our destiny? Imagine you're walking through a dark room, unable to see anything around you. You stumble, you knock things over, and you feel a constant sense of anxiety and frustration. This is what ignorance does to our minds and lives. It keeps us in the dark, causing unnecessary suffering and confusion. Welcome to Wisdom Woven. In this video, we're diving deep into the power of ignorance and exploring how Buddhism can help us see the light. If you're new here, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Let's aim for 1,000 likes on this video to bring these insights to more people and create a community of wisdom seekers. Buddhism teaches us that ignorance is one of the root causes of suffering. But what exactly does that mean? How can we recognize and overcome it in our daily lives? Stay with us as we unravel these profound concepts and offer practical advice that you can apply right away. In the context of Buddhism, ignorance isn't just a lack of knowledge. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of the nature of reality. It's seeing the world through a distorted lens, where we perceive permanence in the impermanent and self in what is truly selfless. To illustrate, consider the story of a man who mistook a rope for a snake. His heart races, he breaks out in a sweat, and he feels genuine terror, all because of a simple misunderstanding. Ignorance operates in much the same way. It tricks us into seeing danger, threats, and obstacles where there are none. By shedding light on our ignorance, we can start to see things as they truly are. This process, according to Buddhism, is essential for achieving true peace and happiness. But it requires effort, awareness, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. You might be wondering, how can we begin this journey towards enlightenment? Buddhism offers several paths, including mindfulness, meditation, and ethical living. Each of these practices helps us to peel away the layers of ignorance and reveal our true nature. As we progress through this video, we'll explore these practices in more detail. We'll look at real-life examples and practical tips that you can incorporate into your routine. Our goal is to provide you with valuable insights and transformative advice that can make a real difference in your life. Imagine living with a clearer mind, free from the chains of ignorance. Picture yourself making decisions with confidence, understanding the true nature of your experiences, and finding joy in the present moment. This isn't just a dream, it's an achievable reality through the teachings of Buddhism. We often hear the phrase knowledge is power, but in Buddhism, the emphasis is on wisdom, the deep, intuitive understanding that goes beyond mere facts. This wisdom can guide us through life's challenges, helping us to navigate with grace and compassion. The journey may not be easy, but it's undoubtedly worthwhile. Overcoming ignorance is a lifelong process, one that requires patience, persistence, and an open heart. But the rewards are immense. A life filled with clarity, peace, and profound joy. So, as we embark on this exploration of ignorance and wisdom, we invite you to stay engaged, ask questions, and reflect on your own experiences. Together, we can uncover the power of ignorance and transform it into a source of enlightenment and happiness. Remember, every like, comment, and share helps to spread this message and build our community. Let's reach that 1,000 likes target and make a difference in the lives of others. Thank you for being a part of Wisdom Woven, and let's continue this journey together. As we delve deeper into this topic, we'll examine specific teachings from Buddhism, including the concept of the three poisons and the role of ignorance in the cycle of suffering. We'll also discuss practical steps you can take to cultivate awareness and wisdom in your everyday life. Stay tuned and let's unravel the power of ignorance together, discovering how to turn this perceived weakness into a source of strength and enlightenment. This journey promises to be transformative, and we're excited to have you with us every step of the way. Lesson 1: Understanding Ignorance in Buddhism. Ignorance, in the context of Buddhism, is much more than just a lack of knowledge. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of the nature of reality. This misunderstanding is the root cause of many of our sufferings. But what exactly does this mean, and why is it so important? In Buddhism, ignorance is seen as a veil that covers our true nature. It makes us see things as permanent, satisfying, and having an independent self when in reality, they are impermanent, often unsatisfying and interdependent. This misperception leads to attachment, aversion, and delusion. Imagine looking at a mirage in the desert. From a distance, it appears to be a pool of water. You walk towards it, feeling thirsty and hopeful. But as you get closer, the water disappears, leaving you disappointed. Ignorance in Buddhism is like this mirage. It makes us chase after things that we believe will make us happy, only to find out they don't. The Buddha taught that ignorance is the first link in the chain of dependent origination. This chain explains how suffering arises and continues in our lives. By understanding and breaking this chain, we can free ourselves from suffering. One powerful example of ignorance is our attachment to the self. We often think of ourselves as separate, independent entities. But according to Buddhism, the self is an illusion. We are all interconnected, and everything is constantly changing. Holding on to the idea of a permanent self causes us to suffer when things inevitably change. Welcome to Wisdom Woven. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the power of ignorance and its impact on our lives, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us bring more insightful content to you. Now let's delve deeper. Ignorance also manifests as not understanding the Four Noble Truths. These truths are the essence of Buddha's teachings. The truth of suffering, its cause, its end, and the path leading to its end. Without understanding these, we remain trapped in a cycle of suffering. Another way ignorance affects us is through our perceptions. We see things through a lens of bias and preconceived notions. This distorts reality and causes us to make judgments and decisions that are not aligned with the truth. For instance, think about how often we judge others based on appearances or first impressions. This judgment is rooted in ignorance because we don't see the full picture. We don't understand the complexities and experiences that make up another person's life. In the realm of Buddhism, wisdom is the direct opposite of ignorance. While ignorance blinds us to the true nature of things, wisdom allows us to see clearly. It helps us understand the impermanent, unsatisfactory, and interdependent nature of all phenomena. Achieving wisdom requires effort and practice. It's about cultivating a mind that is open, curious, and willing to see things as they really are. Meditation, mindfulness, and studying the Dharma are all practices that help us develop this wisdom. The Buddha often used the analogy of darkness and light to explain ignorance and wisdom. Ignorance is like being in a dark room where you can't see anything clearly. Wisdom is like turning on a light. Suddenly, everything becomes visible and clear. Breaking free from ignorance is not an easy task. It requires patience, persistence, and a willingness to look deeply into our own minds and hearts. But the rewards are profound. A life of clarity, peace, and true happiness. As we continue our journey into understanding ignorance in Buddhism, remember that the goal is not to judge ourselves harshly for our ignorance, but to gently and compassionately work towards greater awareness and understanding. By recognizing the ways ignorance shows up in our lives, we take the first step towards freedom. It's a journey of peeling back layers of misconceptions and seeing the world in a new light. Stay tuned as we explore more about how ignorance affects our daily lives and the practical steps we can take to overcome it. There's much more to uncover and understand. Let's continue this enlightening journey together. Lesson 2: The Three Poisons: Ignorance, Greed, and Hatred. Welcome back to Wisdom Woven. In this part, we're diving deep into a concept that is central to Buddhist philosophy: the three poisons. These poisons are ignorance, greed, and hatred. They are called poisons because they contaminate our minds and lead to suffering. Understanding these poisons can help us to recognize and address them in our lives, leading to greater peace and happiness. Have you ever felt like you were stuck in a loop of negative thoughts and emotions? That's the power of the three poisons at work. Let's explore how ignorance, greed, and hatred affect us and what we can do about them. Ignorance is the first and most fundamental poison. It is the root cause of the other two poisons. In Buddhism, ignorance means not understanding the true nature of reality. We are often ignorant of the fact that everything is interconnected and constantly changing. This ignorance leads us to misunderstand ourselves and the world around us. Greed is the second poison. It arises from ignorance because we don't see the impermanent nature of things. We cling to possessions, people, and experiences, hoping they will bring us lasting happiness. However, this clinging only leads to more suffering, as nothing stays the same forever. When we grasp at things out of greed, we are never truly satisfied. Hatred is the third poison. It also stems from ignorance, as it arises from our inability to see the interconnectedness of all beings. Hatred causes us to push away or even attack what we perceive as threats or obstacles to our happiness. This poison fuels anger, resentment, and violence, further separating us from others and creating more suffering. Imagine a garden overrun by weeds. The three poisons are like these weeds, choking out the beautiful flowers and plants. If we want our garden to thrive, we need to identify and remove the weeds. Similarly, to cultivate a peaceful mind, we must recognize and address these poisons. In Buddhism, recognizing the three poisons is the first step towards overcoming them. Once we see how ignorance, greed, and hatred operate in our lives, we can begin to counteract their effects. Mindfulness is a powerful tool for this purpose. By being present and aware, we can catch ourselves when these poisons start to take hold. For example, when we notice feelings of greed, we can remind ourselves of the impermanent nature of what we desire. This helps us to let go of our attachment and find contentment in the present moment. Similarly, when we feel hatred, we can practice compassion and empathy, recognizing that others are suffering just as we are. Meditation is another essential practice for dealing with the three poisons. Through meditation, we develop greater awareness and insight into our own minds. This helps us to see the roots of our ignorance, greed, and hatred, and to cultivate the antidotes of wisdom, generosity, and loving kindness. The three poisons are deeply ingrained in us, but with consistent practice, we can weaken their hold. Each time we choose wisdom over ignorance, generosity over greed, and loving kindness over hatred, we are transforming our minds and our lives. It's important to remember that overcoming the three poisons is a gradual process. We won't be free of them overnight, but every small step we take towards reducing their influence is a victory. Celebrate these small victories and keep moving forward. As we continue to practice, we will begin to notice a shift in our perspective. Life becomes less about clinging to fleeting pleasures or fighting against perceived threats. Instead, we start to see the beauty in each moment and the interconnectedness of all beings. The journey to overcoming the three poisons is a lifelong one, but it's also a journey worth taking. The rewards are immense. Greater peace, happiness, and a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world. In our next part, we'll explore how ignorance specifically contributes to the cycle of suffering known as samsara. Stay tuned, and remember to like, share, and subscribe to Wisdom Woven for more insights into the power of ignorance and how to overcome it. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in the next part. Lesson 3: The Role of Ignorance in Suffering. Welcome back to Wisdom Woven. In this part, we'll dive deep into how ignorance plays a crucial role in our suffering. You'll discover how understanding this concept can transform your life. Imagine you're walking through a dark forest at night. You can't see anything clearly, and every sound makes you anxious. This is what ignorance does to our minds. It keeps us in the dark, making us stumble and suffer. Have you ever wondered why life feels so difficult sometimes? Why do we experience pain, anxiety, and unhappiness? Buddhism teaches that at the root of all suffering is ignorance. But what does this really mean? Ignorance, in Buddhist terms, is not just a lack of knowledge. It's a misunderstanding of reality. We see things as permanent when they are not, as separate when they are interconnected, and as fulfilling when they often bring us pain. Consider a child who touches a hot stove because they don't know it will burn them. In a similar way, we engage in actions that cause suffering because we don't understand their true nature. This is the ignorance that Buddhism speaks of. When we misunderstand the nature of our experiences and cling to false beliefs, we create our own suffering. For example, if we believe that acquiring more possessions will make us happy, we might work tirelessly, sacrificing our health and relationships, only to find that we're still unfulfilled. Buddhism teaches that this ignorance is a key reason we suffer. By clinging to our desires and aversions, we create a cycle of suffering. We become trapped in a loop, constantly seeking pleasure and avoiding pain, never finding true peace. Let's take a moment to reflect on this. How often do we find ourselves chasing after something, thinking it will bring us happiness, only to be disappointed? This is the result of ignorance. We don't see the impermanent and unsatisfactory nature of the things we pursue. The Buddha identified ignorance as the first link in the chain of dependent origination, which describes how suffering arises. This chain begins with ignorance, leading to actions and consequences that perpetuate suffering. But here's the good news. If ignorance is the root cause, then understanding and wisdom are the solutions. By seeing things as they truly are, we can break free from the cycle of suffering. Imagine turning on a light in that dark forest. Suddenly, you can see the path clearly, avoid obstacles, and walk with confidence. This is what wisdom does. It illuminates our minds, helping us navigate life with greater ease and less suffering. Developing wisdom requires mindfulness and practice. When we observe our thoughts and actions with awareness, we begin to see how ignorance influences our decisions. We start to recognize the patterns that lead to suffering. For example, if you notice that you often feel unhappy after scrolling through social media, you might realize that comparing yourself to others is causing you pain. With this insight, you can choose to limit your social media use and focus on activities that bring you genuine joy. In Buddhism, this process of turning ignorance into wisdom is known as enlightenment. It's a journey of gradually seeing things more clearly, letting go of false beliefs, and embracing the truth. The more we understand our minds and the nature of reality, the less power ignorance has over us. We begin to experience less suffering and more peace. This transformation doesn't happen overnight, but with persistence and practice, it is achievable. So, the next time you find yourself feeling anxious or unhappy, pause and ask yourself, what am I not seeing clearly? How is ignorance playing a role in my suffering? By asking these questions, you begin the journey towards greater wisdom and freedom. Thank you for watching this part of our series on the power of ignorance here at Wisdom Woven. Stay tuned for the next part, where we'll explore the cycle of samsara and how ignorance keeps us trapped in it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Until next time, may you find clarity and peace on your journey. Lesson 4: Ignorance and the Cycle of Samsara. In Buddhism, ignorance is seen as one of the main reasons we get trapped in the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth known as samsara. Imagine samsara as a never-ending wheel that keeps turning, taking us through various lives filled with suffering. This cycle continues until we achieve enlightenment, which frees us from it. But what role does ignorance play in this? Think of ignorance as the fuel that keeps the wheel of samsara spinning. Without understanding the true nature of reality, we make decisions based on false perceptions and misconceptions. These decisions lead to actions that create karma, which then determines the circumstances of our future lives. It's a continuous loop driven by ignorance. Buddhism teaches that ignorance isn't just about not knowing facts or information. It's a deeper kind of unawareness about the nature of existence. It's not recognizing the impermanence of everything around us, including ourselves. We hold on to things, people, and even our identities, thinking they are permanent, but they are not. This misunderstanding leads to attachment and aversion. We crave things we think will bring us happiness and push away things we think will bring us pain. But since everything is temporary, these efforts are futile and only lead to more suffering. This is why ignorance is considered one of the root causes of suffering in Buddhism. Breaking free from the cycle of samsara requires overcoming this ignorance. This means gaining true insight into the nature of reality. One way to start this process is through mindfulness and meditation. By observing our thoughts and actions without judgment, we can begin to see the patterns of ignorance that keep us trapped. In meditation, we learn to calm our minds and look deeper into our own nature. We start to recognize how our desires and aversions are based on false perceptions. This awareness is the first step toward breaking free from ignorance. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. Suddenly, we can see things as they really are. Another important aspect is learning from the teachings of the Buddha. His teachings, or Dharma, offer guidance on how to live in a way that reduces suffering and increases wisdom. By following the Noble Eightfold Path, which includes right understanding, right intention, and right mindfulness, we can gradually reduce our ignorance. The Noble Eightfold Path is like a roadmap out of samsara. It helps us cultivate wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. Each step we take on this path brings us closer to understanding the true nature of reality and frees us from the cycle of rebirth. It's important to realize that overcoming ignorance is a gradual process. It doesn't happen overnight, but every small step we take towards greater awareness brings us closer to enlightenment. And each step makes our current life more peaceful and meaningful. Engaging with a community of like-minded individuals, known as the Sangha, can also be incredibly helpful. Sharing experiences, discussing teachings, and supporting each other on the path can accelerate our progress. We learn from others and gain new perspectives that help dispel our ignorance. In everyday life, practicing mindfulness can help us stay aware of our thoughts and actions. By being present in the moment, we can catch ourselves when we start to fall into patterns of ignorance. This simple practice can make a huge difference in how we experience life and interact with others. Ultimately, the goal is to achieve nirvana, a state of complete liberation from ignorance and suffering. Nirvana is not a place but a state of being free from the delusions that keep us bound to samsara. It's the ultimate freedom and peace that comes from true understanding. Remember, the journey to overcome ignorance is deeply personal. Each of us has our own unique experiences and challenges. But by staying committed to the path, we can make steady progress. The teachings of Buddhism provide a wealth of wisdom and practical tools to help us on this journey. So, take the first step. Begin by observing your own mind and actions. Seek out teachings and guidance from experienced practitioners. And most importantly, be patient with yourself. Overcoming ignorance and breaking free from samsara is the work of a lifetime, but it is the most rewarding journey you can undertake. By understanding and addressing the root of our ignorance, we can transform our lives. We can break free from the cycle of suffering and move towards a state of enlightenment. This is the profound power of overcoming ignorance in the context of Buddhism. Lesson 5: Mindfulness and Awareness. The Antidotes. In the hustle and bustle of our daily lives, it's easy to get swept away by the currents of our thoughts and emotions. But what if there was a way to anchor ourselves in the present moment, to cultivate a deep sense of awareness that could help us navigate life's challenges with clarity and grace? Enter mindfulness and awareness, the powerful antidotes to the poison of ignorance. Picture this. You're sitting in a quiet room, feeling the gentle rhythm of your breath as it flows in and out of your body. With each inhale and exhale, you become more attuned to the sensations in your body, the thoughts in your mind, and the emotions in your heart. This is the essence of mindfulness, the practice of paying deliberate attention to the present moment without judgment. But mindfulness is more than just a trendy buzzword. It's a time-tested technique with roots in ancient wisdom traditions like Buddhism. For centuries, Buddhist monks have used mindfulness meditation as a means of quieting the mind, cultivating inner peace, and gaining insight into the nature of reality. So how exactly does mindfulness work its magic? By bringing our attention to the here and now, we can break free from the chains of habitual thinking and reactive behavior. Instead of getting lost in a whirlwind of worries about the future or regrets about the past, we can learn to anchor ourselves in the present moment, where life is actually happening. But mindfulness is not just about being present. It's also about being aware. Awareness is like a flashlight that illuminates the dark corners of our mind, revealing the patterns and habits that keep us stuck in cycles of suffering. With awareness, we can begin to see through the illusion of separateness and recognize the interconnectedness of all things. And the best part? You don't have to be a Buddhist monk to reap the benefits of mindfulness and awareness. These practices are accessible to anyone, anywhere, at any time. Whether you're sitting on a meditation cushion or washing the dishes, you can cultivate mindfulness by simply paying attention to whatever you're doing with openness and curiosity. But don't just take our word for it. Science backs up the transformative power of mindfulness and awareness. Studies have shown that regular mindfulness practice can lead to a host of benefits, from reduced stress and anxiety to improved focus and emotional regulation. And the best part? These benefits are not just limited to the cushion. They ripple out into every aspect of our lives, transforming the way we relate to ourselves, others, and the world around us. So if you're ready to break free from the chains of ignorance and step into the light of awareness, why not give mindfulness a try? You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. So take a deep breath, anchor yourself in the present moment, and let the magic of mindfulness unfold. Your journey starts here and now. Lesson 6: Ignorance and Karma, Cause and Effect. Ignorance isn't just a lack of knowledge. It's a powerful force shaping our lives in ways we often overlook. In Buddhism, ignorance is one of the primary causes of suffering. But how does it work, and what does it have to do with karma? Picture this. You're walking through a dense forest, unaware of the thorns and branches in your path. You keep stumbling, getting scratched and bruised. Ignorance is like that forest. It blinds us to the consequences of our actions, leading to suffering. Now, let's talk about karma. In simple terms, karma is the law of cause and effect. Every action we take, every thought we have, leaves an imprint on our consciousness. These imprints shape our experiences, determining the course of our lives. But here's the twist. Ignorance distorts our perception of reality, leading us to make choices that perpetuate suffering. Imagine driving a car with a blindfold on. You're bound to crash sooner or later. Ignorance blinds us to the consequences of our actions, leading to a cycle of negative karma. Think of it like this. If you believe hurting others will bring you happiness, you're operating from a place of ignorance. But karma ensures that our actions have consequences. What goes around comes around. Ignorance might shield us from seeing these consequences in the short term, but eventually, they catch up with us. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Buddhism teaches that we can break free from this cycle of ignorance and karma through wisdom and insight. By cultivating awareness of our actions and their consequences, we can make choices that lead to positive outcomes. Imagine driving that car again, but this time with clear vision and a map. You can navigate through life's twists and turns with confidence, avoiding the pitfalls of ignorance and negative karma. So, what can we do to overcome ignorance and create positive karma? It starts with awareness, paying attention to our thoughts, words, and actions. Through practices like mindfulness meditation, we can train our minds to see through the veil of ignorance and make choices aligned with wisdom and compassion. By understanding the relationship between ignorance and karma, we empower ourselves to break free from suffering and create a life of greater happiness and fulfillment. So, let's embark on this journey together, with open minds and open hearts, towards a brighter, more enlightened future. Lesson 7: Practical Steps to Overcome Ignorance. In the journey of self-discovery and spiritual growth, Overcoming ignorance is not merely a philosophical concept, but a practical pursuit. It's about navigating the complexities of our minds and perceptions to uncover deeper truths about ourselves and the world around us. Here are some simple yet powerful steps to help you on this transformative path. Ignorance often thrives in the shadows of our minds, fueled by fear and uncertainty. The first step is to shine the light of awareness on it. Take a moment each day to reflect on your thoughts, emotions, and actions without judgment. This practice of mindfulness allows you to observe the patterns of ignorance as they arise. Education is a powerful tool for dispelling ignorance. Take the initiative to learn about different cultures, religions, and perspectives. Engage in conversations with people who have diverse backgrounds and beliefs. By expanding your understanding, you cultivate empathy and tolerance, which are antidotes to ignorance. Questioning is the gateway to wisdom. Instead of accepting information at face value, cultivate a curious mindset. Ask yourself why you believe certain things and explore alternative viewpoints. This critical inquiry challenges the assumptions and biases that often underlie ignorance. Practice humility and openness. Recognize that you don't have all the answers and that it's okay to be wrong. Embrace the discomfort of uncertainty as an opportunity for growth. By relinquishing the need to be right, you create space for new insights and understanding to emerge. Cultivate compassion for yourself and others. Ignorance often stems from a lack of empathy and understanding. Treat yourself with kindness and forgiveness when you make mistakes or fall short. Extend the same compassion to those around you, recognizing that we are all imperfect beings on a journey of learning. Seek out sources of inspiration and wisdom. Surround yourself with uplifting books, podcasts, and teachings that nourish your mind and spirit. Draw guidance from spiritual traditions such as Buddhism, which offer profound insights into the nature of ignorance and enlightenment. Practice self-reflection through journaling or meditation. Set aside time each day to quiet the chatter of your mind and connect with your innermost thoughts and feelings. This inner stillness allows you to discern the roots of ignorance and cultivate greater clarity and insight. Develop healthy habits that support mental and emotional well-being. Prioritize self-care activities such as exercise, healthy eating, and adequate rest. When your body and mind are in balance, you are better equipped to discern truth from falsehood and navigate the complexities of life with clarity and resilience. Challenge yourself to step outside your comfort zone. Growth occurs when we confront our fears and limitations. Take calculated risks and embrace new experiences that stretch your understanding and perspective. By pushing beyond the boundaries of familiarity, you expand the horizons of your awareness. Build a supportive community of like-minded individuals who share your commitment to personal growth and transformation. Surround yourself with people who uplift and inspire you, who challenge you to be your best self. Together, you can journey towards a deeper understanding of truth and liberation from ignorance. Remember that overcoming ignorance is not a linear process but a lifelong journey of growth and self-discovery. Be patient and compassionate with yourself as you navigate the twists and turns of this path. Celebrate your progress, however small, and remain committed to the pursuit of wisdom and enlightenment. Lesson 8: Meditation. Cultivating insight. In the hustle and bustle of our modern lives, finding peace and clarity can feel like chasing after a mirage in the desert. But what if I told you that within you lies the key to unlocking a serene oasis of understanding? Welcome to part 9 of our exploration into the power of ignorance. Today, we delve into the transformative practice of meditation, a powerful tool for cultivating insight and wisdom. Picture this. You're sitting comfortably, perhaps on a cushion or a chair, closing your eyes gently. The world outside fades away as you turn your attention inward. This is the beginning of your journey into the depths of your own mind, where the seeds of insight lie waiting to be discovered. Meditation is not just about relaxation. It's about deepening your awareness of the present moment. As you focus on your breath, sensations, or a mantra, you gradually quiet the chatter of your busy mind. In this space of stillness, Clarity emerges like a pristine dawn breaking through the darkness. But what does meditation have to do with ignorance, you might ask? Everything. Ignorance thrives in the shadows of our minds, feeding on our unconscious thoughts and beliefs. Through meditation, we shine a light on these hidden corners, illuminating the roots of our misunderstandings and misconceptions. With regular practice, meditation becomes a journey of self-discovery, a process of peeling back the layers of conditioning and delusion. As you observe the ebb and flow of your thoughts and emotions without judgment, you gain insight into their transient nature. You realize that you are not defined by your thoughts. You are the observer behind them. In the stillness of meditation, the boundaries between self and other begin to dissolve. You tap into a deeper wellspring of compassion and empathy, recognizing the interconnectedness of all beings. This profound shift in perspective is the essence of wisdom, transcending the limitations of ego and ignorance. But perhaps the most remarkable aspect of meditation is its simplicity. You don't need fancy equipment or special training to begin. All you need is a willingness to sit and be present with yourself. Whether you meditate for 5 minutes or an hour, the benefits ripple out into every aspect of your life. So, dear viewer, I invite you to take a moment right now, wherever you are, to close your eyes and breathe. Feel the sensation of each inhale and exhale, anchoring yourself in the here and now. In this moment of stillness, you may just glimpse the profound wisdom that arises from embracing the power of meditation. Lesson 9: Ignorance in Modern Life, Recognizing Patterns. In the hustle and bustle of modern life, it's easy to get lost in the noise, isn't it? We rush from task to task, barely taking a moment to pause and reflect. But what if I told you that amidst this chaos, there lies a pattern of ignorance that subtly shapes our every decision and action? Picture this. You're scrolling through your social media feed, bombarded with information from all directions. You stumble upon a headline, provocative and attention-grabbing. Without a second thought, you hit the share button, spreading the message to your network. But have you ever stopped to consider the source? Is it credible? Or are you simply perpetuating misinformation? Ignorance isn't just about lacking knowledge. It's about blindly following without questioning. It's about allowing biases and prejudices to cloud our judgment, leading us down a path of misinformation and misunderstanding. And in today's hyper-connected world, where information is readily available at our fingertips, ignorance can spread like wildfire if left unchecked. Think about the last time you engaged in a heated debate online. Did you pause to consider the other person's perspective, or were you too focused on proving your point? Often, our egos get in the way, blinding us to the possibility of learning from others. But what if we approached these discussions with an open mind, ready to listen and learn? Ignorance thrives in echo chambers, where we surround ourselves with like-minded individuals who reinforce our beliefs. But what if we stepped outside of our comfort zones, engaging with people from diverse backgrounds and viewpoints? It's through these interactions that we can challenge our preconceived notions and expand our understanding of the world. Let's take a moment to reflect on our consumption habits. How often do we mindlessly consume content, numbing our minds with endless distractions? From binge-watching television shows to mindlessly scrolling through social media, we've become accustomed to seeking instant gratification at the expense of deeper engagement. But what if we approached media consumption with intentionality, actively seeking out content that challenges and inspires us? By cultivating a discerning eye, we can filter out the noise and focus on what truly matters, empowering ourselves to make informed choices. In the realm of politics, ignorance rears its head in divisive rhetoric and fear-mongering tactics. Politicians prey on our insecurities, painting a picture of us versus them, feeding into our primal instincts of tribalism. But what if we saw beyond these artificial divides, recognizing our shared humanity and collective responsibility? Imagine a world where empathy and understanding prevail, where we seek to bridge the gap rather than deepen the divide. It's through education and dialogue that we can dismantle the walls of ignorance, paving the way for a more harmonious society. But the journey towards enlightenment begins with self-awareness. It requires us to confront our own biases and prejudices, acknowledging that we are not immune to the influence of ignorance. Only then can we take proactive steps to break free from its grasp, striving towards a brighter and more enlightened future. So, my friends, let us embark on this journey together. A journey towards greater awareness, empathy, and understanding. Let us challenge ourselves to see the world with fresh eyes, unencumbered by the chains of ignorance. For in doing so, we not only enrich our own lives but also contribute to the collective awakening of humanity. Lesson 10: The wisdom of embracing not knowing. In a world obsessed with knowing, where information is just a click away and expertise is revered, there's a subtle power in embracing not knowing. Imagine a mind unburdened by the need to have all the answers, a heart open to the mysteries of existence. This is the essence of wisdom in the face of ignorance. Picture a beginner's mind, unclouded by preconceptions and judgments. It's like a blank canvas waiting for the artist's brush strokes, ripe with possibility and creativity. In the Buddhist tradition, this state of mind is celebrated as the gateway to insight and understanding. Consider this: the more we think we know, the less we truly understand. It's the paradox of knowledge. The deeper we delve into a subject, the more we realize how little we actually comprehend. But instead of seeing this as a limitation, we can view it as an invitation to explore, to learn, and to grow. Think about a child, endlessly curious, endlessly fascinated by the world around them. They're not concerned with being right or wrong. They're simply absorbed in the wonder of existence. As we journey through life, we can strive to cultivate this childlike curiosity, this openness to the unknown. Imagine the freedom of letting go of the need to be an expert, to have all the answers. It's a weight lifted from our shoulders, a burden released. In a culture that prizes certainty and expertise, embracing not knowing is a radical act of liberation. Reflect on the times when you've been most alive, most engaged with life. Chances are, they were moments of spontaneity, of surprise, of stepping into the unknown. Embracing not knowing is about inviting more of these moments into our lives, about surrendering to the flow of existence. Consider the beauty of uncertainty, the richness of ambiguity. In a world that craves clarity and certainty, there's a quiet beauty in embracing the mystery. It's like gazing up at the stars on a clear night, marveling at the vastness of the universe. Think about the times when you've been humbled by the complexity of life, by the sheer magnitude of what you don't know. It's in these moments of humility that true wisdom begins to blossom. It's a recognition of our own limitations, a surrender to the vastness of existence. Imagine the depth of connection that arises when we let go of our need to be right, when we're willing to meet others in the space of not knowing. It's here, in the fertile ground of uncertainty, that true dialogue and understanding can take root. Consider the beauty of a question left unanswered, of a mystery left unsolved. It's in these gaps in our knowledge that the light of curiosity shines brightest. Instead of rushing to fill these gaps with answers, we can learn to dwell in the spaciousness of the unknown. Think about the times when you've been surprised by the unexpected, when life has thrown you a curveball you never saw coming. It's in these moments of disruption that new possibilities emerge, that growth becomes possible. Embracing not knowing is about being open to these moments of disruption, about seeing them as opportunities for growth and transformation. Consider the richness of uncertainty, the fertile ground it provides for creativity and innovation. In a world that prizes certainty and predictability, it's easy to overlook the power of not knowing. But it's in this space of uncertainty that true breakthroughs can occur, that new ideas can take root and flourish. Imagine the courage it takes to embrace not knowing in a world that values certainty and expertise. It's a radical act of defiance, a refusal to be bound by the limitations of our own understanding. But it's also an act of humility, a recognition of our own fallibility. Think about the times when you've been confronted with the unknown, when life has presented you with a situation you couldn't control or predict. It's in these moments of vulnerability that true growth becomes possible, that we're forced to confront our own limitations and expand our horizons. Consider the beauty of uncertainty, the freedom it offers from the tyranny of knowledge. In a world that prizes expertise and certainty, there's a quiet liberation in embracing not knowing. It's a recognition of the inherent mystery of existence, a surrender to the unknowable depths of life. Imagine the peace that comes from letting go of the need to have all the answers, from surrendering to the mystery of existence. It's a profound sense of relief, a weight lifted from our shoulders. In a culture that prizes certainty and control, embracing not knowing is a radical act of liberation. Reflect on the times when you've been most alive, most engaged with life. Chances are, they were moments of spontaneity, of surprise, of stepping into the unknown. Embracing not knowing is about inviting more of these moments into our lives, about surrendering to the flow of existence. Consider the beauty of uncertainty, the richness of ambiguity. In a world that craves clarity and certainty, there's a quiet beauty in embracing the mystery. It's like gazing up at the stars on a clear night, marveling at the vastness of the universe. Think about the times when you've been humbled by the complexity of life, by the sheer magnitude of what you don't know. It's in these moments of humility that true wisdom begins to blossom. It's a recognition of our own limitations, a surrender to the vastness of existence. Imagine the depth of connection that arises when we let go of our need to be right, when we're willing to meet others in the space of not knowing. It's here, in the fertile ground of uncertainty, that true dialogue and understanding can take root. Consider the beauty of a question left unanswered, of a mystery left unsolved. It's in these gaps in our knowledge that the light of curiosity shines brightest. Instead of rushing to fill these gaps with answers, we can learn to dwell in the spaciousness of the unknown. Embracing the unknown, a journey to wisdom. Welcome back, dear viewers, to the culmination of our exploration into the profound realm of ignorance and its transformative potential. As we draw the curtains on this enlightening journey, let's take a moment to reflect on the pearls of wisdom we've unearthed together. Throughout this odyssey, we've delved deep into the heart of ignorance, unraveling its intricate tapestry within the context of Buddhism. We've uncovered its role as a fundamental source of suffering, perpetuating the cycle of samsara with its insidious grip. But amidst the shadows, we've discovered flickers of light, the beacon of mindfulness and awareness, illuminating the path towards liberation. In the grand theater of life, ignorance often masquerades as certainty, luring us into the comfort of familiarity. Yet, it is in the embrace of uncertainty that true wisdom flourishes. By relinquishing our attachment to fixed perceptions, we open ourselves to the boundless expanse of possibility. But this journey doesn't end with mere understanding. It beckons us to action. As we stand at the crossroads of ignorance and enlightenment, we are called to embark on a voyage of self-discovery. It is a journey fraught with challenges, yet brimming with infinite potential. So where do we go from here? The answer lies in the choices we make, the intentions we set, and the practices we cultivate. Let us pledge to nurture the seeds of mindfulness in our daily lives, watering them with compassion and curiosity. But let us not walk this path alone. As a community bound by a shared quest for truth, let us extend a helping hand to one another, offering support and encouragement along the way. Together, we can create ripple effects of positive change that reverberate far beyond the confines of our individual existence. As we bid adieu to this chapter, let us carry forth the flame of wisdom in our hearts, illuminating the darkness of ignorance wherever it may dwell. And so, dear friends, I invite you to join me on this timeless journey of self-discovery. For in the depths of not knowing lies the gateway to boundless possibility. Thank you for embarking on this adventure with me. Until we meet again, may you walk the path of enlightenment with courage, grace, and unwavering resolve. Keep shining, keep seeking, and above all, Keep embracing the beautiful mystery of life. Farewell, and may wisdom guide your every step.